Hey, stolen cousins. You already know what time it is. Animated horror stories. Animated horror stories. Let's see. We are doing two, not one, but two. Let me just see if my homies be on. You know, two true massage parlor horror stories animated. The last one that we seen, um, the last one that we seen, it was low key like haunted based, and then the closest one that we seen about a parlor before that was the waxing parlor, where they was like shitting on people, literally, like actual shit. Go through my I got a playlist, the horror stories animated playlist. Go look through it. It's whack a horror. I think it's three true waxing videos. Someone got shit on. Shit. Um. Yep. We are with SSG Animations, the big homies. You know the homies. And go on and like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. You should be because we're locked in. And yeah, let's just get right into it. Excuse me. I might have babbled because, it's been a long day. But it's alright. Let's get up into it. Get your blunts, your bottles of water, your bags of chips, and a nice little blanket. The blanket is so, you get to be all snugged in. Mm.
I used to laugh when people talked about the ghost, but not after the horrible incident that happened to me 5 years
Haunted,
ago.
what I say?
This incident happened when I was still working in a bank. I was jobless for years after college. When I got the offer to work in a bank, I was beyond excited. I thought working in a bank was one of the easiest and highest paying jobs anyone could have. The pay was good, but little did I know, it was a trap. The first month was
How so?
exciting. I worked hard and learned fast. When I got my first pay, I was so excited. Bye-bye to being broke, I said as I received the payment. It was all good until my boss called and told me he wanted to promote me. I want you to take over my position when I retire, but you have to start small. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. I promise you won't regret it, and I'll make you proud, I said, smiling ear to ear. Little did I know, it was a trap. I found out
Explain
later
that.
that
Like,
this was
how?
his trick to get workers to work extra hours. My work started getting
Mm.
difficult. Sometimes I didn't go home. I worked till late at night and woke up very early to return. I didn't have time for family or friends. I started looking older than my age. Permanent dark circles around my eyes. Junk and fast food became my favorite, and my health was deteriorating. I didn't notice anything then. I was focused on the promised promotion. On Friday morning on my way to work, I collapsed. I
Mm.
was rushed to the hospital. It was then that I discovered that I had stomach cancer. I had
No
surgery and I
way.
was hospitalized for almost a month. That was when I discovered my boss's tricks. Some of my coworkers were mumbling about it when they came to visit me. They thought I was deeply asleep, but I could hear them. Before I was
Oh
discharged,
God.
the doctor advised me to rest more and eat healthily. Immediately, I resumed back to work. I went to confront my boss. He wasn't sorry at all.
Ugh. He wasn't sorry at all. Like, I want you guys to install in your children, or even if you're watching this, I say that we are all supposed to be grown watching this, and I only say that because I put that my videos are not for kids because I be cussing and doing adult stuff up in here. But I need us to, even Even my adults, even my stolen cousins that are adults on here, I need us as people to install in ourselves that you do not need to kill yourself for a job. Like, do you understand me? They make promises of, oh, you will get a promotion. Oh, you'll get a raise. Oh, just keep doing your regular work until you get it. Because if something happens to you at work, what happens to your promotion? It goes away. It goes to the next person. Why? Because you now cannot have it. You are sick. You know what I mean? Like a job, they do not care about you. They care about the company. The boss cares about the company. Okay? HR cares about the company. People are like, oh, go to HR with a lot of situations. HR cares about the company. They don't care about what you're saying. They don't care about how you feel. They care about making sure the company does not get in trouble. You understand what I'm saying? Please, please, please do not run yourself into the ground over a job. This man just found out he had stomach cancer, was hospitalized for a month. Who knows? Probably more because it's an animated story. Probably more. Really got tired. Stop yawning. Maybe more. Freaking luckily he still had his job. I thought it was gonna be that shitty that he was gonna get fired while being in the hospital because a lot of places do that. You'll go to the hospital because you're injured while working with them and they still fire you. You know what I mean? He goes back to work and his boss is not even sorry because what do you mean? This is a job. You're supposed to work hard. Why would you only work hard if you think you're supposed to get a promotion? But that's life. Like, why wouldn't I work hard? Ugh, mm-mm. Y'all need to please, 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 please. Your health and your well-being is way more important than the job. Now, make sure that you're settled and that your funding is correctly, but if you need to do extra hours, do it for yourself. Don't do it for the company. Don't let them be like, oh, you're so irresponsible because you can't take someone else's hours. Do you know how many times at a place of employment where you could do your hours, your shift, they ask you to do a double because someone else called out and you say you can't do it and they want to complain? Oh, no one could have came in and covered it. That's not our fault. You need to have more people to cover those people. You know what I mean? Let's get back to it because I can start talking about jobs all day. I can talk about how ain't shit jobs are all day because they really will use you. They will use you from a child, a wee lad, and make false promises to you. I was at a company for 2 years off of a false promise, and then I moved to another company and got the promotion. Like, you do not, no. Don't let them play with your time.
To work. I
Mm-mm.
went to confront my boss. He wasn't sorry at all.
At all.
Instead, he threatened to fire me. I was devastated. After work, I drove out angrily and I decided to go to a bar to cool off. On my way, I sighted a massage parlor. I wondered why it was open that late, but I didn't care. I thought that was exactly what I needed to cool off.
Definitely is.
I drove in and I entered. The place was silent and creepy. I walked to the reception, but I didn't see anyone. I was about to leave when I saw a tired-looking young lady.
Hi there. My name is Sandy. How may I help you?
Sandy,
I
I'm
stood
sorry, you
still
can't
for a
be
while
tired
before answering
outside
her.
up here.
Something was off about her. I told her I wanted to get a massage, so she pointed me to a room and told me to get ready and that someone would attend to me shortly. Immediately after I entered the room, I felt a strange sensation, but I quickly got over it and started taking off my clothes. There was a stretcher in the room, so I laid down on it. I feel relaxed already, I said out loud. After about a minute, the stretcher started moving as if someone was pushing it.
Uh-uh.
I jumped off immediately.
Good.
What was that? I screamed.
Good
I looked
shit.
around the stretcher to figure out why it moved, but I couldn't find anything. And suddenly it moved again. I fell to the ground and crawled backward as the stretcher kept moving. I was so scared I almost peed my pants. I was so shocked I couldn't feel or move my legs. Is someone playing a prank on me? Is there a camera somewhere? This isn't funny, Sandy, or whatever your name is. I'm going to get you arrested if you do not stop your pranks, I said, shaking. No one showed up, and I was getting tensed. So many thoughts ran through my mind. Thankfully, I sighted my phone. I stretched my hands and took my phone. I was about to call for help when I heard a very angry voice scream.
No phones in the massage parlor.
And before I knew it, my phone cracked into pieces and the stretcher started moving crazy.
Oh.
That was when I realized it wasn't a game and what I was experiencing was real. And I was in deep trouble. I didn't know how I gained immediate energy, but I flew up screaming. As I approached the door to leave the room, the door closed forcefully. I banged it as if my life depended on it, because it did. I started hearing noises. The stretcher was moving towards me, and I was still banging on the door, shouting for help. Sandy, please help me. Open this door now. I repeatedly shouted. The stretcher moved close to me and pressed me against the door as I kept shouting. Before I knew it, I felt a force strangling me. I suddenly couldn't speak. I had already peed my pants. All my efforts to push the stretcher back were futile, as the force against me was stronger. Bitter tears rolled down my cheeks as I groaned in pain. I thought I was going to die. The painful part was that I didn't know who or what was trying to kill me. I couldn't even beg for my life, and I was just there wondering how I got into such a situation. I had lost all hope when the stretcher suddenly lost control and fell on its surface. All the noises and weird suffocating feeling suddenly stopped. The door that seemed to be locked suddenly opened. I struggled to get out of the room. The door was open, but I was too weak to walk. I was feeling pains all over my body, and I couldn't walk properly. Suddenly, the stretcher started moving again. My eyes popped out as I saw the stretcher moving. I gathered all my strength and ran outside the room. When I got to reception, I didn't see anyone. I could still hear the sound of the stretcher moving in the strange room, so I hurried outside to get help. But my car keys were inside the room, and my phone was damaged. And I was feeling very weak. Finally, I was out of the haunted massage parlor. I must have been out of my mind to visit a massage parlor this late, I thought to myself in tears. I looked back at the building, and I could see Sandy. Through the window of the strange room, pushing a stretcher violently, she suddenly stopped and looked at me as if she could tell I was looking at her. Her scary dark eyes sent chills down my spine, and I immediately ran as fast as I could away from the building, until I lost consciousness. Thankfully, I was taken to the hospital by a good Samaritan. I had suffered a broken rib and neck after I regained consciousness, and I couldn't speak for a week, but after several therapy sessions, I finally spoke. The police were already involved in the case, so I was called for questioning. After I explained, no one believed me. They thought I was insane. The police decided to investigate, so we went to the massage parlor. It wasn't easy for me to go back there, but I had to for the police to believe.
Like, where's my car?
On getting there, I got the shock of my life. The massage parlor had closed down years ago, and there was no sign of any activity as the place was old and dusty. The people around there said the place had been closed for more than 10 years after someone died there. So we went back to the station.
But was it a woman?
I couldn't be more confused. I was about to go insane.
I would have been asking that question.
Please, believe me. I came here. I met the receptionist. Her name is Sandy. She was the one who pointed me to a room. I'm not insane. One of the police officers cut me off. Did you say her name was Sandy?
Oh,
yes,
you heard me.
I replied. He brought out a file. I was investigating the massage parlor, and I found the murder case reported that happened there 10 years ago. The name of the girl that died there was Sandy. What? I screamed. Chills ran through my spine. The detective went to his computer and did some research. He showed me a picture and asked if that was the person I saw at the parlor.
Yep.
I said yes. Then he told me it was late Sandy's picture.
What
I
happened
was
to her?
petrified. I had an encounter with a ghost.
Are you gonna tell us what happened to her?
Sandy worked as a receptionist at
Thank
the
you.
massage parlor, but she was raped and killed by her boss.
Oh,
The
wow.
massage parlor didn't shut down because Sandy died. It shut down because people kept complaining of weird incidents happening to them there.
Good
And to
shit,
top it
because
all
it
off,
needed
the
to-
boss who raped Sandy also
Died?
committed suicide there.
Good
That's
shit.
why it was eventually shut down.
Good. Because it needed to be shut
After
down
that
in the
incident.
beginning.
I wasn't the same. I quit my job because I couldn't focus, and I kept seeing Sandy in my
That's
dreams.
sick.
I had to move in with my parents because I can't sleep alone. And I'm 30 years old.
It's okay, boy. You just got a lot going on right now.
My name is Stella, and this happened to me a couple of years ago. So, back when I was struggling with my finances, I got a job offer to work in a massage parlor as a massage therapist. This was a high-end massage parlor. I cannot disclose the name, but it was situated in the wealthy part of our town. I was struggling to make ends meet, so when I saw this offer on the local job hunting website, I knew I had to grab it. They also offered me a good monthly payment and possibly hundreds of dollars extra as a tip. However, before starting the job, me and the other 3 recruits needed to go through a training session. You see, none of us were priorly trained to be massage therapists, and so the 15-day training session was going to teach us how to offer basic body massage with aromatic and healing oils. I was very excited about the job and reached the massage parlor in my car 20 minutes before the training session began. I vividly remember how that first step into that establishment made me feel. The temperature drastically dropped, and there was a gloomy atmosphere. The passing staff members hardly smiled at me. Everyone seemed a bit aloof and quiet.
Everybody
I
has the same
didn't give it
face,
a
or is
thought.
Everybody like
But
Zen?
now that I reflect on it, I think I should have picked up the negative vibe back then itself. I walked up to the reception and inquired about my training
Thanks.
session and if I had to do any pre-session prep. The receptionist gave me a curt smile and asked me to wait in the room down the hall. This massage parlor had 10 plus individual massage rooms, a spacious waiting area, and maybe a staff room connected to a supply room. As I waited in the hallway, I was called inside the staff room by a senior massage therapist, I presume, as she was wearing the uniform of the massage parlor. As I entered the room, there was a massage table in the center of the room, and 3 other people were gathered around it, 2 men and 1 woman, who looked a bit older than me. Before I could introduce myself to our instructor, the senior massage therapist started talking about cleanliness and why it's important here. I quietly set my purse aside and listened carefully like the other 3 pupils. She went on for about an hour, by the end of which we all seemed so bored and already tired. We knew the importance of cleanliness, of course. Then she proceeded to introduce us to the number of oils used for massage therapy. We had to memorize the importance and use of each oil to later use it during our actual work sessions. This part was very interesting, as it was actually related to my job. By the end of the session, the instructor fully turned toward us, looked each one of us directly in the eye, and
Cleanliness is
said in a
important.
very serious, almost scary tone that we weren't allowed to access room number 10. She explained that it was used by senior staff members only to attend to elite customers. This should have been my second red flag, but I ignored it too and thought that establishments like these may have different ways of operating. For the next 13
What y'all
days,
doing in
the
room
training
10?
went
Y'all
on as
hunting?
normal, but at the end of every session, the instructor used to give the same warning again and again to keep away from room number 10.
Now
I had
someone's gonna
made good
go in
friends with
room
the other
10.
3 trainees, and we all were very curious about this room and hadn't
What'd I
seen
say?
anyone use the room ever. On the second to last day of the training, we were all assigned to a real client and had to work under the supervision of other senior massage therapists. My trial went smoothly. I managed to get good feedback from the customer, and my supervisor was happy with my work too.
Good.
I had no scope for any errors as my life depended on this job. I also received a $100 tip from the client.
Good shit.
Later, once we were done for the day, it must have been around 8 in the evening, we, all 4 trainees, decided to leave. I went to my car, but it wasn't starting. It was an old Toyota, so it sometimes took a while to fire its engine. I tried 5 more times, but it was still not working. My fuel tank was full, so that was not an issue. All my fellow trainees had left, so I had no choice but to go back in and ask a staff member for help. When I walked back into the parlor, it was empty. No staff member lingered in the hallway. Even Sharon, the receptionist, wasn't behind her desk.
So get
As I
out.
walked inside, I heard noises coming from the infamous room number 10. The air was thick again, almost suffocating me. The heaviness in the atmosphere was back.
Girl, you just got a
As I
$100
walked
tip.
up to the room, something in my gut was telling me to run, to
So
go
why
back
would
to my
you go
car
to
and get the hell out of this place.
And you
However,
didn't.
I needed help, and so I was in front of the room. The door was ajar, and I could see inside of the room for the first time. The whole room was covered in mirrors of different sizes, and in front of the mirrors stood several staff members of the massage parlor. All of them seemed to recite some kind of mantra. I couldn't make out what they were saying, as it was in another language.
Demon.
The reflections were clear in the respective mirrors in front of them. I could feel it in my bones that something was very wrong here. I got chills just looking at all the people almost robotically reciting the same mantra over and over again. I also spotted Sharon in between all these people. I knew I had to leave before one of them spotted me. I tried
What?
to move, but it was as if my legs were glued to the spot. I somehow managed to gather the strength to back off. One step at a time, I started to retreat.
You need to
My
hurry up.
eyes were still fixed on all the staff members. Just as I thought I was able to run back to my car,
Who looked at you?
my back hit a table and made a loud noise.
Girl.
Immediately, all the members stopped and rotated their necks at an angle of 180 degrees to look at me. I kid you not, no human can do this unless their neck is broken. That was the scariest thing I had ever seen in my life. And now, all these people were looking at me. They did not make a move to come for me, but it was still an extremely scary experience. I somehow managed to get a grip on myself, and with the last look at the
Somehow.
people, I dashed out towards the entrance. However, the last thing I saw stunned me the most. All of the reflections of the people in the mirrors were still staring right ahead and had not turned as the people had. It was like there were different people trapped in the mirror. I reached the road, crying and scared to death. Luckily, I spotted a taxi just at the curb.
Okay.
I entered it and just gave my address to the driver. I managed to reach home and jumped into my bed crying and scared. I never went back to the massage parlor, and my car was retrieved by a towing company. A month later, I was working as a waitress in a local cafe. I had not completely forgotten that incident. To be honest, no one can ever forget something like that. But I was getting my life back on track. After one of my morning shifts, I returned to my apartment and just decided to watch some TV. As soon as I switched it on, the news channel was broadcasting a piece of news about some satanic cult. The TV screen displayed
Demon.
headshots of Sharon, the receptionist, our massage instructor, and a few more staff members of the massage parlor to be the heads of this cult. They were conducting satanic rituals unbeknownst to the owner of the massage parlor. They also practiced human and animal sacrifice. At that moment, it all clicked together. What I had witnessed was a cult ritual. The news also stated that as a result of the ritualistic practices, 2 to 3 new employees were killed by the cult members. The one that had escaped reported this incident to the police.
Which
This
one?
all explained why everyone was so cold in the massage parlor and why we were strictly
Yeah.
forbidden from entering room number 10. My heart skipped a beat when the pictures of the victims were displayed.
Oh,
They were none other than my fellow trainees,
your
and
buddy.
2 of them had died. I soon realized that I too could have been one of the victims
Girl,
had I
you would've.
returned there. The possibility of such a horrific and early death shook me to the core. Now that I'm living a happy and successful life, I still get goosebumps remembering the massage parlor horror story.
Mm-mm. You gotta be careful with them coats. Them coats be everywhere. Obviously, I can't say be careful like you're aware of it or something, But like, they told you not to go in there. Like, why would you even go in there if they told you not to go in there? Oh, my God. Thank you so much for joining me. Which story was your favorite, number one or number two? Please remember what I said. Don't let these jobs work you. Just go there, get your check, and go home. And I love you guys.